I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Match once again. We're about to another review. There's another paid request, this time for my dear friend Efree, and it's for Bloodsport 3. Now, I did review Bloodsport 2. Feel free to check that out. And also, if anyone has any requests, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, anything in between, or random, or out of the blue, pretty much anything, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, before I get into Bloodsport 3, Bloodsport, classic Van Damme film, and then they did 3 sequels, Bloodsport 2, 3, and 4. I know for a while there's talks of a remake, which thankfully never came to be. But Bloodsport 2 had Daniel Bernhardt, and he plays the same character in this, as a guy named Alex, who was an art thief. He got caught, he went to jail, he trained with a guy, James Hahn, the technique of the Iron Hand, got out of prison to be in this kumite. He won it, beating an evil prison guard named Demon, and he won it. Things were fine, and now we're in Bloodsport 3. Now, here's the weird thing about this film. Many things. And before I go on, Daniel Bernhardt, if you don't know who that is, I said this before my review of Bloodsport 2, he got pigeonholed in the fact that they wanted him to pretend to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. The way he acts, the way he talks, the way he fights, the fact he does, yeah, each punch, kind of what Van Damme was doing at the time. And that was a big mistake because even Van Damme wasn't being successful at this time in movies, let alone the lesser version of Van Damme. And, maybe this made money direct-to-video wise, but it didn't really, I don't know if it really opened Daniel Bernhardt a lot door-wise, career-wise, until ultimately he got to bigger films like John Wick. And that was, I think, thanks to Chad Stahelski, who directed some of those John Wick films, because he worked in stunts and worked behind the scenes and being a double in a lot of movies, and he worked on this film. He was one of the fighters in the kumite. He worked on Bloodsport 2 as well. I think he worked more on the choreography in this movie. Although, to be honest, the fight scenes are kind of forgettable. And I'm not a fan of this movie. It's not the worst ever. It's not Pocket Ninjas. But it's nowhere near the first one. And I would say the second film is better than this. I don't remember anything about Bloodsport 4, but that was not requested. Thank God. So I don't have to watch and review it. Before I remember, that was the fucking weirdest one. This one, it'd probably be like I don't know, a 2-star out of 5-star flick. Like, it's Daniel. Once again, like the fucking previous film, it has the same shitty fucking song at the end credits, like in Bloodsport 2. And I said in that, this song is the worst fucking song I've ever heard in a martial arts movie. I mentioned it's like if two songs were playing at the same time, one of them was Mortal Kombat theme playing while someone's high on speed or methamphetamines, and then you had some random guy on the lawn, drunk as fuck, going, Bloodsport! Bloodsport! Oh, Bloodsport! They thought it was such a good fucking song, they brought it back for this. And on top of that, they loved the flashback skeleton in Bloodsport 2. They use it again in here. Only instead of James Hahn talking to a bunch of little kids that he's trained martial arts to, here, Daniel Bernhardt all of a sudden has a 10-year-old kid. And he's telling this story to his kid. Which again, kind of a weird story to tell your 10-year-old kid. Oh yeah, I was this gambler, and then these ninjas try to rob the place, and I kicked their butt, pretend to be Van Damme, and doing his yells. And this mobster guy, played by John Rhys Davies, Sala, from the first two Indiana Jones films, he sponsored kumite, and I said no. So he went to my friend James Hahn, and he killed him with a phone bomb. Like, is this the type of story you tell your 10-year-old kid? Yeah, I remember this time. I had a friend. He got blown up by a phone bomb. It's like, why is this here? Why do we need... And also, the timeline is fucking confusing. Because the kid is 10 years old. Bloodsport 2, he had no kid. He met a girl. So is he the kid of that girl he met? And the Bloodsport 2, and they fell in love, and then they had this kid, but then you never see that girl, and then the flashback is to a time that's after Bloodsport 2, but well before he had a kid. And yet Daniel Bernhardt looks the fucking same. Apparently, what? So, let's say it's a year since Bloodsport 2. Let's say. Which again makes Bloodsport 2 confusing, because that was done in a flashback where James Hahn was teaching a bunch of fucking kids. Like, okay, bear with me. Bloodsport 2, the flashback skeleton is James Hahn telling a bunch of 10-year-old kids in a dojo, this is what happened years ago. Where does that fit in this timeline? How long has it been since Bloodsport 2? Must have been years and years, because James Hahn is teaching a bunch of little kids. But not too long, because people still remember this guy was a kumite champion. And Daniel Bernhardt looks the same, because it was only filmed a year, technically probably a few months after Bloodsport 2. And then apparently even 10 years further, Daniel Bernhardt still looks the same. He didn't need a single wrinkle. So wait, where does the James Hahn teaching the little kids in the second film fit in this timeline where James Hahn is literally in it and long enough to die? Like, this is such a waste of James Hahn. And what was the point in the second film? One of the big points is Daniel Bernhardt goes to jail. He goes to jail because he stole a sword. James Hahn helps him. The reason Daniel Bernhardt is going to go to the kumite, one of the reasons is to get James Hahn out of jail. It's also to help try to get this sword back that he stole, and for honor. But a big part is to get James Hahn out of jail, because he considers James Hahn a friend and a father figure now. So you got him his freedom to then, in the next movie, he's in it for 30 seconds and he dies because he picks up a phone and there's a bomb and he blows up. And if you're wondering why that happened, because Daniel Bernhardt did not want to join the kumite. So John Rhys Davies says, fuck that, fuck him, I'm going to kill his friend and blow him up with a bomb when he answers his phone. It's not like, James Hahn made a mistake. It was meant for... No, it was meant for James Hahn on purpose. So to then piss off Daniel Bernhardt and then join the kumite that John Rhys Davies wanted him to join in the first place, But now John Reese Davies has put his money on this other guy, the Beast. So then why did you tell James? Why did John Reese Davies kills James Hahn with a phone bomb? Because Daniel Bernhardt said no. So this seemed like, oh, I know this guy's the best. I'm going to do this to piss him off so he can join the kumite, which is what I want. But no, it's also not what John Reese Davies wants, because he still puts all his money on the Beast. So even though he goes out of his way to kill James Hahn, and then he goes, no, don't let Daniel Bernhardt in here, I don't want him in the kumite, then you should not have... He didn't want to be in the kumite in the fucking first place. If you don't put all your money in the Beast for him to win, you would not want to mess with Daniel Bernhardt. So why do you mess with Daniel Bernhardt to get him to be in the kumite, but then you don't want him in the kumite? So then why did you kill James Hahn in the first place if you don't want him in the kumite, but then before you said you want him in the kumite, but then obviously you don't because you put the money on the Beast, but then... Again, John Reese Davies says, I want you for the kumite because you were a champion in Bloodsport II. Daniel Bernhardt, be in the kumite. Daniel Bernhardt goes, no, I won't be in the kumite. John Reese Davies, fuck you, Daniel. I'm going to kill your friend. That way you don't be pissed off at me and join. But instead, oops, I guess I changed my mind. Now I put all the money on the Beast, but I still don't kill your friend. He was just pissed that he said no. But that created more problems because you yourself said this guy's the best. Wouldn't you want this guy? Daniel doesn't want to be in your kumite. You're sure your guy, the Beast, will win. Leave him the fuck alone. So it makes John Reese Davies' villain such a stupid fucking character. And then he never gets a comeuppance. He's one of your main villains. He never gets a comeuppance because of some moral that he tells his kid, which is fucking stupid and counterproductive. Pat Morita, he comes back from Bloodsport II. He has even less screen time. He has even less to do. He's just there to go, hey, James Hahn died. I want you to go meet this guy. And then the guy he meets is another master. He's the guy who played the judge in Bloodsport 2. It's Master He Il Cho. I might have mispronounced that. But they dub his voice, which is strange because I don't think his voice was dubbed in Bloodsport 2. Could be wrong. Maybe they did a better job with it, but I don't think his voice was dubbed in Bloodsport 2. So why is it dubbed here? Because again, he was a judge in Bloodsport 2. He was not dubbed. And by the way, this is the same director. Not the one guy who helped do the choreography, who was a co-director. The other, Art something, I forget his name. I know I should not forget the director's name, but the director had a forgettable fucking showing. And honestly, any credit to part 2 is more to the choreographer of the fights, not to the other director. And I don't even get why Daniel Bernhardt is training again. He's already been labeled the best. Nothing has shown that he can't do this. Why does he not do the Iron Hand again? It's not one of those things where, hey, it's a big battle. He witnessed something. Like he witnessed, like Rocky. In Rocky 2, Apollo, he's seen now Apollo's much more strict, much less flashy about it. He went through all the turmoil personally. Hey, I gotta get back in shape again. It's not like Rocky 3, I got beat up, I got humiliated, I lost, I gotta train again. It's not like Rocky 4, where he witnesses the power of Dolph Lundgren and his own fucking friend died. Yeah, I gotta train more intense. Or even in Kickboxer, where Van Damme tried to fight Tom Poe and he got his ass kicked, and he's like, okay, I need to train. No, there's no reason for Daniel Bernhardt's character to train. It just seems, oh, we gotta have a training session in here because we had it in other movies. And I hate to say it, even the training sessions are boring as fuck in this movie. What do the training sessions entail? He catches an arrow, which that really doesn't go into play during the fight. He moves with a cobra, which I guess kind of goes into the fight. They kind of try to put it in there, but it's very thin, anorexic, to say the least. And then I think James Hahn's character had a daughter that I don't even remember him having a daughter in the previous film. And then she has a crush on Daniel Bernhardt, but then that leads to nowhere, so it seems like that's all pointless. You know what? It seemed as if in the middle of a Bloodsport sequel, they also wanted to do a Tip Boxer sequel. So we want this section to be like Tip Boxer, the training, only it was done a lot better in Tip Boxer. Now let's go back to the kumite. And in Bloodsport 2, at least the kumite started like 35 minutes in. Here, it didn't start until like 55 minutes in. And I was not a fan of this movie. The Bloodsport 2, I could say, was a time waster, like 2.5 star. This is like a 2 at best star movie. Because it's boring, music is lazy, you don't even have Donald Gibb back, Jackson, who was in the first one and he had a brief role in the second film. None of the fighters, even the second film, you had like a female kumite fighter who Donald Gibb had a crush on. You had this black guy who was kind of friendly with Daniel Bernhardt in the second film. They had a little mutual respect. There's none of that in this. Like, nothing. The only difference you get is Daniel Bernhardt seems a bit more angry in his fighting. But this, you could almost say this was deleted footage from Bloodsport 2. It looks almost they're shot at this. Well, actually, no, it looks like they're shot at a cheaper set. The crowd seems cheaper. I know that doesn't make sense, but it just looks even cheaper than the second film. And the fight scenes get repetitive and boring and forgettable. And, you know, the choreography is not the worst. You could do a lot worse, but you could do a lot better, which is part of my point. The Beast, I think the actor has sadly passed away. But I'm sorry, this Beast, he had as much charisma as the Great Khali from WWF. It just doesn't look like him. I'm saying he has as much presence and charisma or personality as him. Like, this is just a tall guy that throws people. And he looks plain. He looks very forgettable villain. Incredibly forgettable villain. And so then he gets beat up. Oh yeah, every once in a while it goes back to the flashback where he keeps telling his 10-year-old kid, oh yeah, I was pissed and I was angry. And I was beating up these people and this one guy cracked a guy's neck. Broke a guy's neck, and again, it's like a weird story to tell a 10-year-old kid. He defeats the Beast. And, oh yeah, I mentioned the flashback. There's literally a moment where Daniel Bernhardt and the kid are at a campfire. Daniel Bernhardt puts his hand over the campfire, and then the fire is started. So now we have magic in this movie. Magic. Yeah, because Bloodsport needed magic. He defeats the Beast in such a boring, lame, lackadaisical fight. And then John Rhys Davies gets away. It's not even like he gets shoved or pushed or punched. He defeats the Beast. Then it cuts to him talking to his kid. Who knows how many years later? Yeah, the kid's 10 years old, but when did he have the kid? Did he have the kid with the girl from Bloodsport 2? Or did he have to meet another girl and then have his kid? Could be 13, 14 years later, but Daniel Bernhardt, I almost would keep saying Van Damme. Daniel Bernhardt looks the same. And even the kid's like, well, what happened to John Rhys Davies? Nah, nothing. Why? Oh, because it would be wrong to do that. This whole point was for revenge. And then, like, nah, never mind. I mean, your revenge is more towards fucking John Rhys Davies than the Beast. The Beast didn't kill your master. The Beast didn't kill your buddy. What the fuck, man? And that's probably, if you heard a noise, that's probably a cat. That's one of my cats probably hanging himself. Think of that bullshit. He probably just hanged himself. Great. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to see my cat hung from the neck. Fucking noose around his neck. Because he's thinking about this bullshit. Even he's like, no, it doesn't make sense. He jumped. And all 9 of his lives are gone. Yeah, movie so fucking bad. Killed all 9 lives of your cat. Well, maybe not that bad. Stop. That'd be Pocket Ninjas. It's not that bad. But it's just very forgettable. Very lame. Very tedious sequel. Forgettable. Not needed. And didn't bring anything to the table. Yet the same shitty fucking song at the end. And I don't know why they had to do the flashback skeleton of yet again someone telling a little kid this story. The fight scenes are completely, they're forgettable. I can't remember a damn thing about them. The plot is weaker than even the previous one. And barely makes any fucking sense. The music sucks. It's lame. It's lazy. The song at the end is horrible. Just like it was in Bloodsport 2. John Rhys Davies is the main villain. He doesn't even get a punch. Even Best of the Best 2 did that, where you punch Wayne Newton. Like I said, you want to see a good Bloodsport sequel, watch Best of the Best Part 2. With Philip Rhee and Eric Roberts. That, to me, is a good Bloodsport sequel. I mean, just watch Best of the Best 2. But yeah, with that said, this is a lame movie. If you like it, that's cool. I have no desire to ever watch this film again. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.